So a while back, I was looking through every one-shot I could find, just looking for something different. After finishing up one of Fujimoto's mind-boggling one-shots, which I highly recommend you check out, I found a new one-shot that caught my attention from the first page. Specifically, this page. I'm sure you've all seen stories like this before. An adventurer gets kicked out of a high-class party and goes off on his own. He finds people who appreciate his talents and gathers a harem of cute girls while his original team flounders without him, realizing just how much they truly relied on him. But it's too late because he found a new party that is just waiting for the chance to sit on his This was not that kind of manga. In only 17 pages, not counting the extras at the end, this one-shot caught my attention, locked it in a cage, then threw away the key. If I had to describe the experience of reading this in a nutshell, it'd be...
This better not awaken anything in me.
The one-shot is called, I Heard That If You Get Kicked Out, You Can Somehow Become Popular. And I want to talk about it because YouTube is cheaper than therapy. Welcome, friends. I'm Merlin with a Y, a certain famous wizard's less talented but more attractive cousin. And before we start, I feel like I should give you a warning that this video may contain spoilers as well as mentions of the following. Yeah, this video might get weird. So to start everything off, I'll give a brief description of the one-shot. The story follows Itsuka, a powerful mage that's a member of the hero's party. Itsuka here has a problem though. Not that he's mistreated or that they don't appreciate him. His problem is that every other member of his party likes the hero. I mean, not that I blame them. I mean, come on. But Itsuka's not having it.
I feel like a man dying of thirst watching another man drown.
Point is, Itsuka wants out. Having read all those kicked out of a hero's party manga, he's desperate to follow suit. One problem though. The hero already does appreciate him. Unlike the cartoonishly dickish heroes that usually inhabit these kinds of stories, Shayuu is a legitimate hero in every sense of the term, and they already care about him a great deal. Maybe too much, actually. Unfortunately, Itsuka's not into it. But anyway, there's a fire, and Itsuka uses his exceptional magic skills to put out the fire so fast that he ironically doesn't get to show off in the process. And Shayuu accidentally cucks him again. Altogether, it's a pretty fun one-shot, but I wouldn't say it's... Oh. Okay, I take it back, this is true art. From the moment I saw this page, I needed to see this story get serialized. There was so much potential here that it'd be such a waste to never see the light of day. Not only that, but there were extras after the original 17 pages that made me even more interested in the different characters. One in particular. And I was thirsting for more. The art, the characters, the worlds, I wanted more. Well, 6 months later, I got my wish. The series was picked up for serialization as Hero's Party Wants to Experience Love. And I gotta say, I love it! But it also disappointed me. Now before I get into the manga version, I want to make some things clear. I really like this series and I'm not trying to hate on it. I'm just trying to give my thoughts as well as explain why to me it felt like they kinda dropped the ball on at least one part in particular. The serialization started off strong, covering the same ideas as the one-shot, but it added much more. Itsuka still wanted out of the party, to which Shayuu, the hero, refuses. Itsuka whines about it until they're called to meet with the king to discuss a problem. The hero's party had not only defeated the Demon King, but also in the process made the world better in almost every conceivable way. Which to me sounds like a good thing, but hey, shows what I know. I don't understand politics. There's a big problem though. Shayuu isn't the only hero. It seems that, for some reason, summoning heroes from our world became popular there, and now there's a surplus of isekai heroes with no purpose anymore. They got all the training, but none of the adventure. Now I know what you're thinking, why not just send them home? But here's the problem. They don't want to go back. These aren't the old school isekai heroes that want to go home to their families. These are the modern isekai heroes. The ones that just want an OP power fantasy with a harem full of cute girls. Though, to be fair, they've been missing in their world for months and would probably have already lost their jobs, apartments, and possessions by now. They don't really have anything to go back to, so I get them. To go from being so close to living the fantasy they dreamed of to being told that they don't need you anymore, and you should just go home, in all honesty, I feel for them. And so does Itsuka, in the worst way possible. But something is wrong with this hero.
Putting up with stuff in an isekai? That's right. When I think about it, I don't have to put up with anything. Girls. I want to flirt with girls. I want to be coddled by a sexy Oneshot.
Oh, this really killed me. Oh, God. I've never related to a manga character more in my life. But after a creative fight, the berserk hero is captured, and it's revealed that someone is making the otherworlders go berserk and cause problems. And it's none other than our favorite heroes party that has to figure out the cause and put a stop to it. So Itsuka, sorry pal, but you can't leave yet. Overall, this is a great start to what sounds like a really interesting story. There's an interesting plot about the otherworlders that would usually be the protagonists of an OP isekai story being a bunch of degenerates. You know, like in real life. Instead of just another cookie-cutter, blander than white bread empty shell protagonist that we're supposed to put ourselves in the shoes of. After all, God forbid they have some personality beyond being vaguely kind and dense. Having to clean up the messes of what would normally be the protagonist of a generic isekai is a great change of pace for a fantasy world. That plus the other plotline where Itsuka has no idea that Shayuu's a woman and that the party isn't just a giant harem for her, would add plenty of drama and comedy. There's a lot you can do with this, and it would be really interesting to see it explored. The world feels both generic and distinct in a way that perfectly matches a story that plays with tropes the way it does. The manga's art is really good with creative fights and some really funny moments. The characters are all funny and entertaining. Not just Itsuka and Shayuu, but the rest of the party is also very fun. Toifa, the fighter, is an innocent meat-headed tomboy, yet she also acts as the straight man for most of the group's comedy, which is a nice change compared to most meat-headed characters. Riyo, the priest, has a very dry wit and often feels like they should not be a priest. I've always been a fan of the degenerate priest trope, specifically the Hider type of degenerate, not the Kodomine type, or the Catholic type in general. But keep in mind, Ryu's a boy.
It's a trap!
And Rufue, the archer. She's a complete pervert and she's my favorite character. Those who check out the series will get why she's my favorite. Don't judge me. And let's not forget our two leads. Itsuka gives off Zenitsu vibes, but he's actually hyper capable when it comes to magic, and he has no problems with fighting with his life on the line. Though some may find his desperate want to be popular annoying, I find it entertaining. Shayuu is what people would imagine a hero to be, incredibly good-looking, intimidatingly strong, and has an innocence and charm that just pulls people in. Every character would be fine on their own, but when put together, they bounce off each other seamlessly. Altogether, the series looks like it has incredible potential, which is why it's such a shame that they chose to squander so much of it. But before I get to the part where I tell you what it was that made me feel this way, I feel like I should tell you about another draw for the series. It's really weird. The series is pretty much the writer's fetishes put into a fantasy story, and I'm here for it. Hell, most of the hero's party fulfills one fetish or another, be it muscle girls, tomboys, traps, or her. Sure, your friends might look at you a little weird if you recommend this to them, but hey, at least it's easier to explain this than the Monogatari series. But when I say the writer puts his fetishes into it, I don't mean like, oh, there's a lot of feet pics, or something like that. That's just annoying. What I mean is, entire conflicts are caused by the various fetishes of the otherworlders. Their entire character and conflict is boiled down to their fetish. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. Instead of something like the harsh reality of the world coming down on someone who thought of it like a game, or someone who's torn between returning home or staying with their newfound friends. Instead of that, we get these guys. This guy has a fetish for dragons' cars. Yeah, that's his whole character and motivation. He wants to see a bunch of dragons a car. We spend 2 chapters where they are trying to figure out dragon car sex. In all honesty, I found it hilarious, especially how they actually resolve the issue, but I'll save that for you guys to find out. This next guy has a giantess fetish, but not just giant girls, specifically buff girls that become giantesses. Giantesses. Giants. Female giants. I love tall, muscular girls probably more than the next guy, but when your fetish is literally destroying a town, you should probably take a cold shower. This one's not an otherworlder, but this old lady's got a thing for men being attacked by tentacles. Yeah. Do you have any idea how hard it was to convince the people around me that the stereotype about anime and tentacles wasn't true? And now I'm talking about this? God, I hope my family's not watching this. But no matter how weird this stuff gets, I'm still gonna read it. Because say what you will, but this is hilarious. And I'd rather read something weird than something boring. I live for the weird stuff. I want my friends to be worried about me mentally whenever I talk to them about manga. Because that's how you know you're getting something unique. Nothing illegal, just weird. More Chainsaw Man weird than Eromanga Sensei weird. But I can't keep putting it off forever. It's time I tell you what it is that disappointed me so much about the manga version. Spoilers ahead. There are 2 main conflicts in this story. The first being the external conflict where their hero's party has to stop the Otherworlders from causing trouble and going berserk. The second is the internal conflict, where Itsuka is completely misinformed about his party's situation, thinking the whole party is just Shayuu's harem, not realizing that Shayuu is a woman who only has eyes for him. Those are 2 great conflicts that would be amazing to see explored. It's a shame that they decided to completely scrap one of them. 5 chapters into the manga version, they casually reveal that no, Itsuka was completely aware of Shayuu's gender. Not just her, but the entire party. All that build up to what we thought would be a revelation that would fundamentally change his relationships with everyone turned into nothing. Nothing! The one-shot in the first chapter of this manga set us up to believe that Itsuka didn't know, and that was why he was so blind to her affections. But no, he knew the whole time. But he just had a different reason that he wasn't with her, which just feels so unsatisfying. It's like they were trying to make it a twist that would surprise the reader, but it just feels cheap. But hey, it's just one mistake. I still love Itsuka and Shayuu. I'm sure they can work it out.
FBI, open up!
Why? Why would they do this? I get that they love to play with tropes, but did they have to use one of the worst tropes in anime? So instead of having Itsuka not be aware of Shayuu's gender, and have that be the reason they're not together, they decide to have her be 5 years old? How am I supposed to root for this ship if one of them is barely older than a toddler? I know that they say, because manga logic, she's physically around 20 years old, but why didn't they just make her 20? I know I said I was into weird stuff, but this is too far. This completely soured what was originally my favorite relationship in the manga. I want to see the hot muscle girl get the dumbass mage to fall for her and destroy anything that got in their way. But now I can't have that, because all I think now when I see these panels is that the girl is the same age as a kindergartner. I still love this series, but in all honesty, they made some big decisions that I think were definitely net negatives. But despite the mistakes that were made, I still enjoy the series and I want to see it do well. Even if they drop the ball a bit, I want to believe that they'll be able to pick it up and make a slam dunk. Did I make that reference right? I don't know much about sports. Either way, at the end of the day, I'm a fan, and despite how I sound, I'm still looking forward to each new chapter. Hell, I don't blame the author. I just wish their image for the manga wasn't so different than what I thought the series was supposed to be. But these are just my thoughts. I hope you'll check this series out and tell me what you think. This series is definitely unique, and among the sea of copycat, isekais, and power fantasy manga, this was a breath of fresh air. Even if this series didn't live up to the potential it had, if there's one thing I'll never call this series, it's boring. And hey, even if they messed up with Shayuu, at least my girl Rufue is still a top tier waifu. At least, if you're into that. But let me know what you thought about this video. I'm trying out different styles and trying to see what fits me, but also entertains you. I'm Merlin with a Y, and thanks for listening to this old man ramble.
This better not awaken anything in me.